Hi guys, welcome to our Sudhir Neet Biology Academy. I am your Dr. Mohan Angappan. Today we shall move on to take three ductless glands. One, pituitary gland, number two, pineal gland, and number three, thymus gland. So these three glands we will take up today. See, generally the glands and the hormones and the functions and the disorders are often asked in the Neet question paper. You definitely get one question in the glands and the hormones and their actions and the disorders. So today let us confine ourselves to three glands: pituitary, pineal and thymus. First, let us talk about pituitary gland. So pituitary gland is a very small gland under the brain, a pea-shaped gland, 1.3 centimeter in diameter and weighing about 0.5 gram in human beings. Very small pea-like gland, but more powerful. It is called as the master gland because this pituitary controls all other ductless glands. Right. If we take the structure of the pituitary gland, it has got two parts: one, adenohypophysis, anterior pituitary, and neurohypophysis, posterior pituitary. Adenohypophysis has got two parts: pars intermedia and pars distalis, and this posterior pituitary is also called as the pars nervosa. So what are the hormones secreted by these three parts of the pituitary gland? Let us see. First, let us take up the adenohypophysis, anterior pituitary. It has got two parts: one, pars distalis and pars intermedia. The pars distalis secretes 6 hormones. Let us take up one by one. Number 1, GH or growth hormone, or STH or somatotrophic hormone. This controls the protein metabolism, protein synthesis, and helps in the growth of the organism. It stimulates the growth of the organism. So it is called as the growth hormone. If it is secreted more, what happens? The secretion is more, then a disease called gigantism will occur. Gigantism means people will be gigantic, having about 7 feet height. So that is the effect of hypersecretion of the GH or the STH. And also acromegaly, that is the face distraction, the enlargement of the bones of the face. These two are the hypersecretions of the GH or STH. That is a result of this hypersecretion. If it is secreted less, GH or STH is less in amount, what will happen? Just the reverse, dwarfism. The people will be having 3 to 4 feet height. That is called dwarfism. So gigantism, hypersecretion; dwarfism, hyposecretion, lower secretion. Acromegaly also hypersecretion. This you must know. Then number 2, TSH, thyroid stimulating hormone. As the name indicates, this hormone stimulates the thyroid gland and stimulates the thyroid gland to secrete thyroxine. If you take blood level, you go to a lab and you take the thyroxine level in the blood, they will say the TSH, the amount of TSH. Based on the TSH only, they will say whether thyroxine level is more or high. That is, if the TSH is more in blood, that means thyroxine level is low. And that's vice versa. If the TSH is more, then is less, the thyroxine will be more. This is the negative feedback mechanism. See, what is the mechanism here? When the thyroid gland fails to secrete thyroxine, this adenohypophysis pars distalis secretes TSH and stimulates thyroid to secrete thyroxine. That means if TSH level is high, what happens? That indicates the level of thyroxine is low. If the TSH is less, then what happens? The thyroxine level is more in our body. That is the negative feedback mechanism. Third hormone, ACTH, adrenocortic trophic hormone. As the name indicates, this hormone stimulates the cortex part of the adrenal gland, stimulating to secrete the glucocorticoids, the steroid hormones. It's also having the same negative feedback mechanism. That is, if ACTH is high, glucocorticoids will be less in blood. That is the indication. If the ACTH is less, glucocorticoids are more in blood. That is the indication. So these two will be having negative feedback mechanism. This is called as the negative feedback mechanism. Number 4, FSH, follicle stimulating hormone. Then next, LH, luteinizing hormone in female that stimulates the development of corpus callosum and ovulation. In male, ICSH, it stimulates the Leydig cells of testes to induce the production of testosterone. And then the sixth hormone, LTH, luteotrophic hormone or prolactin. This stimulates the growth of the mammary glands in female and increases lactation, and it maintains the corpus luteum. So these three are the gonadotrophic hormones, FSH, LH and LTH. These three are the gonadotrophic hormones since they take part in the reproduction. So these three hormones are secreted by the pars distalis. Then one hormone is secreted by pars intermedia, that is MSH, melanocyte stimulating hormone, that stimulates the melanophores of the skin to induce the melanin pigment in the skin that gives the coloration. So the pars intermedia secretes melanocyte stimulating hormone, which stimulates the melanophores to form more melanin in the skin. Then coming to this neurohypophysis or pars nervosa posterior part of the pituitary, it secretes two hormones, one oxytocin and ADH. Oxytocin, it acts on the smooth muscles. Actually, it helps in the secretion of milk and helps in the contraction of uterus during childbirth. So this oxytocin hormone is very important during childbirth, during delivery, because it helps in the contraction of the uterus. And then ninth hormone, the second hormone of neurohypophysis, ADH or vasopressin, antidiuretic hormone. So what is the function of this ADH hormone? This reabsorbs water and electrolytes from the distal convoluted tubule. If you take the nephron, the tubule portion has got three parts, out of which the last portion is the distal convoluted tubule, from which the ADH absorbs water. When the body needs more water, when the body is dehydrated, when body is in need of water, what this ADH will do, the neurohypophysis secretes the ADH, and the ADH reduces loss of water through urine. So loss of water through urine is called as the diuresis. It acts as the antidiuretic hormone. It reduces the loss of water through the urine and absorbs water from the urine and gives to the blood. If the hormone is deficient, what happens? Less conservation of water, so there will be more water loss. in the urine that leads to hydration, more of urination with water that leads to the disease diabetes insipidus. Diabetes insipidus. So this is about the pituitary hormones. Then second gland, the pineal gland. The pineal gland, a small gland, is also under the brain. It secretes two hormones, one melatonin and serotonin. The melatonin is very important for our sleep-wake cycle, 24 hours cycle, diurnal cycle. So melatonin maintains the 24-hour cycle, diurnal rhythm, sleep-wake cycle. So if you take the sleeping pill, that contains this melatonin, usually with the chemical alprazolam or that, with that melatonin is added because it helps in the sleep-wake cycle. It gives a good sleep and maintains the 24 hours sleep-wake cycle. So it's very important regarding the melatonin. It also regulates the temperature of the body. And another very important function of melatonin is that it influences the menstrual cycle, reduces the quantity of FSH and LH, by which it acts as anti-gonadotrophic hormone. So these three are interlinked. So influences menstrual cycle. How? Let us see. It reduces the quantity of FSH and LH. Why? It acts as the anti-gonadotrophic hormone. So this melatonin acts as the anti-gonadotrophic hormone and it reduces the secretion of LH and FSH, by which the menstrual cycle is distracted. The melatonin reduces the production of gonadotrophic releasing hormone from hypothalamus, by which these FSH and LH are reduced. That leads to late puberty. This you must know. This may be asked in the Neet examination in the right way. So late puberty is due to the high secretion of melatonin because it decreases the gonadotrophic releasing hormone, which reduces the quantity of FSH and LH, by which the puberty is late. If it is less, the melatonin is secreted in less in amount, the puberty will be earlier. So the puberty depends on the secretion of the melatonin. This you should know. The question may be asked in the Neet. Another hormone, serotonin. Serotonin helps in the vasoconstriction of blood vessels. It helps in the vasoconstriction of blood vessels. So these two hormones, melatonin and serotonin, are secreted by the pineal gland. Now you should differentiate melatonin and melanin. I told the past intermediate is melanocyte stimulating hormone, which stimulates the production of melanin, whereas the pineal gland secretes the melatonin. So melatonin contains an amino acid tryptophan, whereas the melanin has tyrosine, the amino acid tyrosine. This is very important. It may be asked in the Neet examination. So melatonin contains amino acid tryptophan, whereas melanin contains the amino acid tyrosine. Melatonin is secreted by the pineal gland, whereas the melanin is secreted by the melanocytes in the skin. Hypothalamus induces the melanocyte releasing hormone that induces pituitary, that induces the melanocyte stimulating hormone that stimulates the melanocytes. The melanocytes will be forming the melanin. This is the formation of melanin. So melanin helps in the pigmentation. If the melanin content is more, we are dark. If it is less, we are white in color. Then regarding the melatonin, I already told you, it regulates the 24 hours diurnal cycle, diurnal rhythm, sleep-wake cycle, and you should know the secretion of melatonin is at peak at midnight. So if you take the day cycle, the melatonin is secreted in our body in midnight, at midnight. The secretion of melatonin is at peak in midnight. This you should know, by which it maintains the sleep-wake cycle. Right. Then coming to the last third gland, thymus gland, it secretes the hormone thymosin. Thymosin. This thymosin is very important for the immune system of our body, because one, it helps in the differentiation of T lymphocytes. There are two lymphocytes, T lymphocytes and B lymphocytes. It helps in the differentiation of T lymphocytes and gives cell-mediated immunity, CMI. So we have two types of immunity in our body. One, CMI, cell-mediated immunity by the T lymphocytes, T cells. Number two, humoral immunity by the antibody production. This thymosin helps both. So it helps in the differentiation of T lymphocytes, by which it helps in the cell-mediated immunity. And number two, it helps in the antibody production, by which it helps in the humoral immunity. So it is very important for our immune system. If the thymosin level becomes low, what will happen? The immune response will be very weak in our body. Immune system will be repaired. So the immune response will be very weak when the thymosin is less in our body. So these are the hormones and the glands. So 3 glands: pituitary gland secreting the hormones, 9 hormones I have explained, and then pineal gland secreting 2 hormones, and then thymus secreting 1 hormone. So these are all the hormones and their actions and their disorders. The next video will continue with the another ductless gland, thyroid. Till then, thank you very much.